I'm with Ray Jones of the, well, he's a candidate standing in the Hengoed ward. This is part of a series where we're speaking to a number of candidates for the local elections on May the 5th. Ray was in two minds whether to stand, it's safe to say, but he is standing now for rural and county council. First and foremost, Ray, do you think it has some credibility? Do you think you will have some power in the decision-making process at County Hall, given that historically this is an officer-led authority, not a councillor-led, an officer-led?
Well, I've been doing a lot of work anyway. So, yeah, well, as I say, the only way I can do it is to get in there and play it by ear and see where we go from there.
Obviously, there are issues in every ward in Carmarthenshire. What are the sort of main issues, you look at or that have inspired you or that you're hearing from people within the Hengoed ward?
Well, it's Sandy Road, for example, is traffic and pollution. Denham Avenue, it's the congestion on the school with the school crossing patrols and things like that.
Obviously, if you do become a county councillor, there are a number of issues. I think it's 2 or 3 days a week that you work. You're handed out numerous reports on planning applications, predominantly planning applications, budget decision making, that kind of thing, to where there comes a time then in the full council meeting you have to sort of raise your hand and agree or disagree with the decisions of the officers. Are you sort of prepared for that and the amount of work involved as well?
Well, as I say, I think I'll have to grow into it. So fed up that our voices are not heard. So we'll see how far we can get.
Looking at some of the candidates across Carmarthenshire, there seems to be a new independence banner, a set of colours, and all of a sudden we have this huge amount of new independents coming in. Are you a new independent as part of a group, or are you solely Ray Jones standing on what you believe in, your policies, your own sort of manifesto and your own work?
No, I'm standing on my own, to be honest, right? As I said, if I can influence different levels, well, fair enough. But I will probably end up knowing a lot of the independent people, but that doesn't mean I'm in with them at all. I'm here to represent Hengoed ward, Sandy, Porth, Furness.
But you do accept that there's the possibility, with the amount of independents that are coming in now, and the number of wards and the number of seats required for taking over the administration, that either Labour or Plaid Cymru will need independence in order to get the power in administration. And I know you're not comfortable with Labour, and I know you're not comfortable with Plaid. So is it your aim, really, almost, to say that you will not join Labour, you will not join Plaid, only on occasions when whatever it is that is being voted on is pertinent and in the best interest of your constituents?
Spot on, Alan. Spot on. I'd be, as I say, if I can influence by going with Labour 1 week and then the next vote going with Plaid, so long as the interests of the ward are paramount, I'm prepared to vote for whoever.
There are allegations, Ray, that a lot of, or certainly some of the independents, this is a protest vote against Labour, a sort of we want to get Labour out in those wards. And a lot of them are predominantly former Labour councillors. Do you think they should do as you have just done and declare where they stand?
Well, I think it's obvious. If you want somebody's vote, you're going to let these people know what you stand for. It's as simple as that. Like, I'm not a backdoor Labour man. I'm not a backdoor Plaid man. I've voted many a time in the Assembly election where I've made a protest vote. I I was brought up Labour, but I'm so disillusioned that, well, I've got to stand on my own.
But you also accept, I know we've had a conversation, that, you know, what happens in the Senedd and what happens in Parliament and what happens on a local level are often disjointed between Labour, disjointed between Plaid. And there are many good councillors in Labour and many good councillors in Plaid that don't actually agree with their own administration, their own MS or their own MP. Yeah. So is that kind of what you're getting at, really?
Yeah, I suppose, really. If I can, I'd like to be able to influence people for certain things that the ward needs. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean I don't, I'm not going to fight against people, curry favour with them a little bit to get what's best for the ward, then possibly I might end up doing that.
What do you say about people standing that don't actually live in the ward? Lee Fox has put himself forward as another independent for Hengoed. He lives in Buryport. He's very outspoken about Buryport, has been for a very long time. But for some reason, he's chosen to stand in the Hengoed ward. Do you understand that logic?
No, I think what they're doing, if they're standing in different wards, they're standing for themselves. But if you're from the ward, you have empathy with the ward, you have feelings for the ward, you love the ward. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm standing, because I love this area. People have asked me, why on earth don't you, because if you're fed up with the traffic and the pollution, why on earth don't you move? You'd be surprised how many people who are standing are not from the ward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, but as I say, if the 16-year-olds are in now, and it's an impressionable age, and they need to kind of see it for themselves, not get unbiasedly influenced just because somebody might be a good advert for it. Look what they do, not what they are.
Do you think some of this is pretty much then some of these parties finding tick box sort of elements of society? We want to see a far greater representation of all elements of community. Some people are saying, look, we need to change the way councillors are recruited here. We need to see far higher caliber, higher quality people coming in that have a track record in business, in local issues. Would you agree with some of that?
Possibly a little bit, maybe, but problem is, once you get these people with business interests, will they then start putting the business interest above the community interest?
Yeah.
That is the issue with that one. You know what I mean? It's, yeah, great having somebody with really good knowledge, but is he in it for himself?
I remember growing up and our county councillor, my father, sort of chomping at the bit, always saying, you know, you can't even see this chap. You know, he's always in a limousine. He's always at a party somewhere having a drink and a free lunch. You know, how accessible will you be? Will that be you? Will you be riding the gravy train? Will it be Ray in a new suit and slick shoes? And there we are. Thanks. I've got a great 24,000 pound wage now. Thank you very much.
If you look at me, around the years, you see me walk in most days. As I say, that it's a bit restricted at the moment because my hip is playing up. I'm waiting for an operation. However, if you see me in a suit, the only time I'm in a suit is when I'm going to a funeral. Right. And I don't mean to smile when I'm saying going to a funeral. I'm always in a tracksuit or shorts or whatever have you. Me going on the gravy train, no thank you. Not interested in it.
And, you know, you've got a history really of campaigning for Sandy, for the residents, for, you know, we know I've written extensively about the Berlin Wall, the fence falling down, the flooding in the area, the noise and the road pollution, the air pollution and so on. Are you sort of a one-trick pony on this, or are you kind of looking at, have you got a greater knowledge and a greater depth to you? I mean, we're talking about people on food banks. We're talking about, you know, children that are going to school without any shoes, not having food. You know, Welsh Labour government, I think, you know, if you look at what's happening, you have to concede that there is some good being done by Labour in a way, isn't there?
Of course there is. Of course there is. There's good AMs, there's good MPs, there's bad ones, there's ones that are in it for themselves. There's ones, I remember when the first guy I voted for was Jim Griffiths, Labour. That's the first guy I voted for, and boy, was he a good MP. And then we ended up having Denzel Davis, he came in. And okay, Denzel possibly had his faults, like everybody has. You know what I mean? But it would be nice to be able to see somebody that would stand up, change politics to a certain degree, and then see where we go from there. Get the genuine people in.
There we are. Well, I think we've spoken to, by the sounds of things there, very down to earth, very grounded, very genuine candidate. I can't influence people as to whether or not to vote for you. That's up to them. And they might decide on the basis of listening to this interview today. Who knows? But Ray Jones, pob luck, good luck to you. And I'll speak to you as and when the elections happen.
Thank you for all your efforts, because without you, we wouldn't really get the truth out. Well done. Thank you.